Welcome back to part 2 of module 3, Influence Intelligence. Now there's two ways of doing this, the Hero's Journey story questions. You'll have the PDF in your membership area. What you could do is you could read all this through first and then come back and answer the questions a day or so later, and that's fine. If you want to do that, please pause the recording here and come back to it when you're ready. If not, then I'm going to walk you through all the steps, and you'll answer the questions below as we go. And that way, if I'm writing the story for you, I can do it in the correct sequence, or if you're doing it, you'll be doing it in the correct sequence. Now, what do I mean by the sequence? If you look up the Hero's Journey story, it all flows in a part 1, part 2, part 3 section. Okay, so part 1 is in the ordinary world, having a great time, thinking that there's not a problem, then some problem arises, then there's a call to adventure, you refuse the call, then you go into the extraordinary world where you go through trials and tribulations, and finally you come back to the ordinary world with your elixir or the trophy or whatever it was that you're bringing back to the world. So it follows a whole story, okay, and everybody goes through this Hero's Journey story in their life. Everybody goes through it. And that's why this connects so well with other people when you structure your story in this way. Okay, it is a framework, and it's the most powerful framework that we know of for stories. Now, there are other frameworks, but I like this one, again, because it's the most powerful. It's the one you see over and over again in blockbuster films and books. For example, things like 50 Shades of Grey. The heroine goes through the hero's journey story in the first film. So let's go on with this then. Here's the questions. What's your backstory that gives us a vested interest in your journey? In other words, using one of the character traits above, show your reader why they should care about you and what happens to you. Okay, so I say above, that was in the first part. So you go back to your character traits. If you've done that and you've got them in front of you, brilliant, because you can copy and paste some of those things in there. What is it? Was there undeserved misfortune? Like the Batman story where his parents were shot in an alley in front of him and he was powerless to do anything about it. So you're going to find that every hero has a backstory, and if you see a lot of these series fictions on Netflix or wherever, you're going to find that the hero's journey story is the backstory comes through bit by bit. You don't get it all at once. Because I think in that way, in those fiction series, I don't think the viewer would be able to stand that. But in this case, it's a different scenario altogether. Okay, so make a note, pause, and what are the character traits that make us like you and have a vested interest in you getting what you want? Now, desire, what it is you want to create and accomplish. Now again, use what you wrote earlier, because you can copy and paste and put that in there. And remember that the external is the struggle that other people can see you going through. The internal struggle, no one can see that apart from you, but you know what that was. And if you remember earlier, I said the internal struggle, we were going to come to that. Well, here's the point where you can copy and paste and put that there. Okay. Then pause and do that before you carry on. Then you're going to want the problem you first encountered. Okay, so there's a wall or a problem that you hit within your current opportunity that got you started. Okay, what was that push that took you out from your ordinary world into this new world, this extraordinary world? The call to adventure, if you like, the crossing of the first threshold, where there was a no turning back. Okay, what was that first point? I need to know that, or you need to put that in there. Okay, so pause before continuing, and then we move on to your insight or epiphany or aha moment. Okay, so we all get these breakthrough moments. Like I said in my story about the prospecting, cold calling on people, my aha moment was, well, if I could just write an introductory letter and then make it look like it was official with that stamp, the duty of care stamp. Do you remember that? So that's kind of my little epiphany point, and it's all to do with a lot of copy is all to do with that, coming up with an unusual idea, a pattern interrupt, which I've already spoken to you about. Okay, so that was my epiphany, if you like. I liked the idea of the pattern interrupt. So what was yours? Okay, you need to think about this. Take your time to think about this. And it is important to do this as you go. Okay, so pause and come back when you're done. What plan of action did you hatch up or conceive or create to help you achieve your desire? Okay, so I told you about my plan of action, and I also continued on with that plan of action, coming up with pattern interrupts in the form of headlines and things like that. So that's how I did it. Just like the one I did for a product called resveratrol, and the headline read, "Read this or die young." And we got a phenomenal response rate in the mail back when I did it, and it was something like a 34% response rate, which is incredible. But that first headline that they saw hits the sweet spot, if you like. I understood what their issues were. The baby boomers, they didn't want to die young. They'd seen their parents maybe die young. Okay, so I knew that was going to help them. So what plan did you put together that you know that could help you overcome this? Okay, please pause here and write that down. Now, you remember I talked about a conflict with a common enemy. What conflict did you experience along the way? How did this set you back? Did you feel like giving in or giving up? You know, oftentimes when we go through our journeys in life, it's 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. You know, there's this roller coaster ride, which is what you want to show here as you progress in your journey. You know, you had some quick wins. You're always going to see that in the hero's journey in films. They have a quick win, then they get this lull and things look all right, and all of a sudden they're plunged into it even deeper than before. Okay, so it's where they meet the villain. Okay, and they're finding the villain very tough to overcome, and they find that all their training hasn't helped. You know, so this is the kind of thing that we're talking about here. What set you back? Okay, what conflict, and that made you feel like, oh, I've had enough. I can't do it. Can't carry on like this. I've got to give up. But you push through. You push through anyway, okay, because you were unwilling to compromise, and that's the key to it. Okay, that's what happened to you. So you've got to create that or find that within yourself. What did you do? Please write as much as you need to when you pause this video. Now we're going to come to the achievement. What was the end result that you achieved? Okay, what did you become? Okay, as this end result, you know, what is this thing, this tangible thing that you can bring back to people, that people want, the solution to their problem? Because you end up being your own best prospect. That's how you know you got something good. That's how I always knew when I had my mail order business selling exceptional health products. If I was my own best prospect for that product, I knew that I could sell it well, because I wasn't really selling. I was enthusiastic because it overcame a problem for me. Okay, so please, end result, as much detail as you can there, because that end result is going to be the desired result that your prospect wants. Okay, this is going to make your life so much easier because you're doing away without the need to sell yourself. Your story does it for you. Okay, take as much time as you need now to pause and look at the end result that you achieved, and come back when you're ready. And lastly, what transformation did you experience? What changed in the way you now think, act and behave? What resources did you create that you're now bringing back to other people so they don't have to suffer the way you suffered? This is very important. This is back to this thing I told you about this book, What Do You Want Your Customers to Become? You see, that's the thought there, is you've got to bring that to them. What do you want them to become? Okay, they want to be just like you, whether it's a hero, average Joe who triumphed, or the underdog who triumphed. Okay, they want to know what it is that you did and how you transformed. Remember, this transformation is a slow process. You're going through this whole journey of being knocked out of kilter, and you're really out of whack here. By the way, I do have a recording that accompanies this, which is called Write Into Your Prospect's Mind. And that R-I-G-H-T, because there's two. There's Write, W-R-I-T-E. That's a document. The other one is a recording. You listen to that and you put yourself into a deep relaxation state as you go through that, and you think about these questions again from the prospect's point of view. So that's really going to help you to make this work even better. So you may want to, at the end of this video, go and listen to that recording right inside your prospect's mind, and then come back and maybe write out some notes in this document, or go back through the things in your document that you've got, the PDF that comes with this, and I'll see if you can answer those questions in your own story that relate. Okay, or you may just want to make notes about how you can write copy based on what you've listened to. Okay, so again, what is it that you became? And that's going to be the ideal person that your prospect wants to be. Okay, so by completing this model, you just put yourself way ahead of 98% of all your competitors. And if you've done this as part of the Influence Intelligent Home Study copywriting course, well done. Brilliant. That's all I can say. This is fabulous. Really good work, because you know now that you can put those character traits that I told you about into your story. You are going to need to meditate on this for a while, and maybe come back and look at your story. Maybe take what I do is all the answers and the character traits, I copy and paste each one of them out, and I put them into a document that I call my Hero's Journey Story. And there at the start of the document, then all the answers to this, I copy and paste and put them below it. Okay, then I read that through a few times, and then I go away and then I meditate on that, and then the story comes to me bit by bit. Okay, sometimes it comes all at once, and sometimes it comes where I get this really great way of starting the story off. Okay, you could start the story in the middle of the story. Okay, that can work really, really well, and then go and do a bit of the backstory that leads you up to that part of the story, then continue on forward. You see that a lot in series fictions and a lot in films. Okay, the Sandra Bullock film I told you about, that does that very, very well. Okay, so think about those things and really meditate on this, because the answers will come to you. Okay, it works the same for everybody. It's not a matter of whether or not you are creative. No, you are creative. Okay, there's no question about that. It's just bringing this creativity out and allowing yourself to do that. And this is going to make your writing that much easier by allowing your creativity to come out. All top copywriters do this, and you can join their ranks by doing what I've shown you here in these two parts of module 3. Okay, so if you've done this to help me craft your compelling story, well, thank you. Then I can do my magic for you. Okay, so, and if you do want me to do your story, then obviously that does incur some cost. So you can get in touch with me through clivecable@googlemail.com. Okay, so now, trust your unconscious mind. A horse with no identifying marks wandered into a farmyard. The farmer's young son said he'd take responsibility for returning the horse to its owner. The boy mounted the horse and urged it towards the road and let it choose its own direction. The boy actively intervened when the horse stopped to graze or wandered off the lanes into a field. Otherwise, he just sat on the horse. When the horse finally ambled into a farm several miles away, the farmer said, "How did you know to bring him here?" "Hey, how did you even know it was our horse?" The boy said, "I didn't know. The horse knew. All I did was keep him on the road." In the next module, we'll go back and take a good look at language patterns that inject ideas into your reader's mind below their awareness. Okay, so what I'm saying here is you need to stay on track before you go and do that. Okay, you complete all the assignments, the ones that Barry gave you, the ones here, and listen to right inside your prospect's mind recording before moving on to the next module. Okay, I look forward to seeing you in module 4. It's an exciting module. It's going to be the biggest module so far. There's some really great ideas in there that you will thank me for, because you'll be able to use them in your copy.